Good morning, Freedom Church. So I have been praying for the last couple of weeks and just asking God what He had for my life and for Tessa's life, and then also for Freedom Church and those of you at Freedom Church. God, what is it that you want us to be expecting for the year 2020? And I believe this morning as I was reading in James chapter 5, verses 17 and 18, that God began to speak to me. So I'd like to share this with you. If you turn with me to James 5 from the New Living Translation, verses 17 and 18. Elijah was as human as we are, and yet when he prayed earnestly that no rain would fall, none fell for 3.5 years. Then when he prayed again, the sky sent down rain, and the earth began to yield its crops. So after reading that, I believe that God started saying something to me or speaking something to me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to 1 Kings and reread this story. So if you would turn with me to 1 Kings, and let's go to chapter 17 and look at verses 1 through 16. Again, I'm reading from the New Living Translation. Now Elijah, who was from Tishbe in Gilead, told King Ahab, "As surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, the God I serve, there will be no dew or rain during the next few years until I give the word." Then the Lord said to Elijah, "Go to the east and hide by the Kerith brook, near where it enters the Jordan River. Drink from the brook and eat what the ravens bring you, for I have commanded them to bring you food." And I love this. This is a supernatural event that's going to take place. And then when I read verse 5, so Elijah did as the Lord told him, I thought, you know what, I bolded those words. And then in parentheses, I put obedience is key. And so we have to obey what God is speaking to us to do. And then He's going to do the supernatural things that He is promising that He will do. So Elijah did as the Lord told him and camped beside the Kerith brook east of the Jordan. The ravens brought him bread and meat each morning and evening, and he drank from the brook. Verse 7. But after a while, the brook dried up. Is your brook seem to have dried up? Are you sure? Have you obeyed God? Are you doing what He's asking you to do? If He's speaking something to you that seems impossible for you to do, there's a good chance that is God. But all things are possible with God. I believe Luke 1:37 talks about that when Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth and she realizes that she's pregnant. All things are possible with God. But after a while, the brook dried up, for there was no rainfall anywhere in the land. Verse 8, then the Lord said to Elijah, "Go and live in the village of Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I have instructed a widow there to feed you." So he went to Zarephath. As he arrived at the gates of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks, and he asked her, "Would you please bring me a little water in a cup?" As she was going to get it, he called her, "Bring me a bite of bread too." But she said, "I swear by the Lord your God that I don't have a single piece of bread in the house, and I have only a handful of flour left in the jar and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jug." I love this. She has just a little, and God's like, "That's all I need. I just need you to give me your little, and I will supernaturally provide an abundance for you. I was just gathering a few sticks to cook this last meal, and then my son and I will die. This lady has lost all hope, but she has hope in God. I'm not sure she realizes it yet, but she's going to see this." But Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid." And I am encouraging you, please don't be afraid. Resist the spirit of fear. It's got to go. Don't be afraid. Just obey God. Go ahead and do just what you've said. But make a little bread for me first, then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. Verse 14, for this is what the Lord, the God of Israel says, there will always be flour and olive oil left in your containers until the time when the Lord sends rain and the crops grow again. Verse 15, so she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and olive oil left in the containers, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah. There was always enough. There will always be enough. So I just want to encourage you for the year 2020, be expecting God to do supernatural things in your lives. Tessa and I are expecting that in our personal lives and then at Freedom Church. And for those of you that call Freedom Church your home, this is going to be a year of God's supernatural taking place in our lives. I believe it's going to be an exciting year. Please be expecting. Thank you so much for your time.